Seems pretty reasonable. We've got an ice to guarantee our 6th resource here. Or 6th resource, our 3rd resource. Got Warpsteels, Webborn Apostates. We've got a Lanupaw Sight is one of the cards I'm trying out. I think I actually want to Fate Weave another resource at the top of my deck here, because ideally I think I'd like to go non-slow shard 2, non-slow shard 3. A Marabot, huh? Interesting. Alright, I think I'm going to lead on the Webborn Apostate here just so I could try and trade these two. Snapping a trade here. Unfortunately, found another slow resource there. We're going to need double Sapphire to enable, I don't really care about that. Our Warpsteel Shardsworns are excellent. Sweet. Alright, that means I can probably stop Fate Weaving resources. I'll need like one more to hit my champion power on 6, but likely be able to draw one when we want, and we'll like make the last ice Fate Weaver resource. Easy block. And so the Alchemite draws them a card when it attacks, and they can discard a card to return to their hand. Blomberg, interesting. They didn't make a play this turn, which is also interesting. So I'm going to start by pressuring with these two and see what they do. So I really want to make sure this Lanupaw Sight resolves here, so I'm just going to go ahead and play this Warpsteel Shardsworn out here and then put another non-resource on top of my deck. I really don't want this to get interrupted, and it feels like they were holding an interrupt up. They were just holding up Scars of War, so kind of punished there. We had some Blight Blossoms come back out after they played them. There's the Alchemite, just gonna easy transmog here. They just let that get hit. Alright. Oh, for fuck's sake, are you serious? That's really annoying. Alright, well, when this hits us, it buries that many cards off the top of our deck. So that means this Lanupaw Sight is not particularly good. So I guess I'll make my guys bigger and just pressure. And this is one of the things you want to remember that you could do with Furiko, is that you could just hit the champ power on like the regular troops that you have in play and start pressuring them. Kind of sad that I put a resource on top of my deck. I should have, that was a small mistake I made. I should have waited to Fate Weave, and when my opponent blocked, I should have Fate Weaved a Dodd resource to the top of my deck. So that was a mistake on my part. I assumed that they weren't going to block and they were just going to hit us with that and bury the cards off the top of our deck. So I didn't want that to happen. So, like I said, 10 out of 10, a small mistake there that could cost us. The combination of Chimera Bots and Scars of War, their deck is interesting. I'm going to play this Lanupaw Sight. I'm actually just not going to play this because they probably have Scars of War. Yeah, sweet. And, like, they're trading Scars of War for this Pippit Hustler, basically. I guess it's taking points of defense off of these. But, like, playing around that seems appealing. They're dead. And again, like, that's one of the reasons why I really like this Furiko deck. You never actually have to draw the combo part of our deck if we don't need to a lot of the time. You could just do that. Just, like, play a bunch of poopers and beat them down. So we beat the main deck Scars of War deck. That's, you know, it's funny, people are like, how do you beat Crackling Magma? How do you beat these sweepers? It's like, well, sometimes you just beat them down. Like, you don't have to go for the combo. You just, like, apply some pressure and then mix well. How do I want to board? They're playing Haraza, yep. Huh. I wonder if I'm supposed to cut these. It's like one of the cards I'm testing today, but, like, They have a lot of random cards that bury stuff. Maybe Etsy's Darrow and like the double the Furiko combo. So the Furiko combo is you draw up with Arcane Soil and create a bunch of Dreadlings, and then use Furiko to turn them all into 3/3s and kill your opponent the turn that you do them. I feel like I could reasonably want Transmogrifade against like their Bloomberg and stuff. Like I have Hustlers and 2 Transmogrifades. That's probably funny. I think I'm just gonna click submit. That's actually what I want to do. It's like, that's super exciting, but it's fine. Ideally, we want like a 1 or a 2 drop, but like, I'm on the draw and I have an Arcane Focus, so like we're gonna get 4 shots at a 2 drop. Got a lot of those, so got number 1, swing and a miss, 7 drop. That's almost exactly like a 2 drop, right? Same thing. Hey, perfect. Means we'll have to go Shardsworn on 2 into Consult on 3. Means we have to discard if we do that though, right? We might do that anyways. I guess there's a chance we're just trading for this, right? Probably just trading for this. I don't want them to start diligencing. Kinda sucks that this got Skyguard set fast. You always want to get blossoms with this if you're lucky. I'm just gonna double here. They want to spend a removal spell on half of this, that's fine with me. Alright, let's go ahead and Fate Weave a non-resource to the top of my deck here. And then attack for 1. Horn and Neck. Yep. Next turn we could play the Silver Talon Mandate. Sweet. And the nice thing about them doing that is it means that they don't have Scars of War up this turn. So I really wouldn't want to play this out if they could Scars of War it right away and then move back to the ready step. But if they don't have Scars of War up right away, I'm pretty fine with playing this out, I think. Alright, I have a banner. Trade here. I want the rest of these to make this consult happen. That's really annoying. So, Burgle, the problem is the decks you need to be more aggressive against, using your charge power on 7 is far too slow. Drax! The baker's dozen! Was that how many donuts you and Maddie had during the bash? Thank you always for the great content. Thank you for the continued support, but I appreciate it. Man, if they have a Runebind here, we are about to get ranched. This thing deals double damage. Bonus deck is cute. They're going through a lot of setup here. Sweet, have a Dingle Whiz. And that's why it's tough to do cute things like what the opponent's doing. It's like you're going through a lot of setup work here, and like I just Transmogrifade you, and then you're sad. I'm gonna play this and hustle their banner. Do this and draw 3 cards. This out, put a non-resource on top of my deck. Hopefully combo them next turn. So next turn we're going to draw up to 7 cards in hand. We'll go down to 6 to play us. We'll go update. We'll make 8 guys, and then we'll smash this. If they don't hold up Scars of War, we'll try and kill them. If they do hold up Scars of War, we're going to be in kind of a tight spot. Although I guess we have, like, multiple Arcane Soils, so I could just, like, smash the first Soil, and then, like, not use the Champ Power and get Scars of War, and then the following turn, use an Arcane Soil and kill them. Because, like, Scars of War is going to clean up their board, too, which is nice for us. Correct. That's why for our opponents holding up 3 resources, we don't want to play into a Scars of War. I mean, playing around things exists in Magic, too. Yeah, correct, right? Like, if they hold up Scars of War and they pass, like we'll play this one, which draws us 3 cards, guess, which is, again, just, like, comes back to, like, the why I really like this deck and enjoy this deck. There's a lot of bob and weave, there's a lot of play to it. You have, like, when they just exhaust out and spend all their resources, they're like, you know, just stone cold to the actual combo. And then when they're not comboing you, it feels a lot like Splinter Twin, honestly. You get to, like, pressure them, and the threat of a combo gains you percentage points. Yeah, I would recommend against playing Modern. Yeah, Champion Powers use the chain. Champion powers you can always respond to in Hex, I believe. There aren't any champion powers that don't use the chain, right? Triggered abilities only go on the chain if they have a target. Apologies while we wait for my opponent to show up, I guess. Going on, Dia Bunny? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Morning. Or afternoon, wherever you're at. This is game 2, right? Yeah, we ground them out game 1. One thing that's important to note about Arcane Soil is that when you prophesize it with Thunderfield Seer, this draw card out here doesn't actually give you an extra Dreadleg because the cards play as written. So this draws 2, then makes a Dreadleg for each card you had, and then draws a card. So this is kind of a non-bow with the Seer. But Seer is just like a quality 1-drop that replaces itself, so like we're 10 out of 10 playing Seer. Let's do sacrifice 3, deal 3 damage. The old Dingle Whiz. This card is so hideous. It's just like pox-ridden monster. It does work with Lanupaw Sight, that is correct. So Lanupaw Sight draws when you play the card, so you'll draw, even though the Lanupaw line of text is underneath it, the Lanupaw's line of text says this triggers when the card is put on the chain, not when it resolves. So when a card resolves, it resolves top down. But if a card has an effect right when it's played, obviously that effect happens when you put it on the chain. Opponent's diaper change game is not on point. Looks like we might snake the timeout victory here for this game too. Alrighty. Oh, anticlimactic start to the boarding. Let's hop on into the next match here. Hey, King Fetty. Yep, Magic. Wednesday is just Hex, so my schedule is Magic into Hex on Tuesday and Thursday, and just Hex Wednesdays and Friday, and just Magic on Sunday evenings. What's this deck versus Mono B? I don't know. Probably not great. No, it probably depends on like how their threats light up against your cards. Honestly, their like Bride's the one. Bride and Massacre. So actually, I'm gonna rephrase. Against decks like Mono Blood and Diamond Sapphire Control, they have a very small subset of cards that we actually care about, right? Like, we only care about Bride of the Damned and Massacre out of Mono Blood, and we really only care about, like, Uldurthan's Glory and Clash of Steel out of not Mono Blood. Man, this is why... So, it's funny, like, when people ask me about decks that they've tested, they're like, this deck tested well, X, and I'm like, well, did you actually test, or did you just, like, play on the ladder? Because, like, take Nephilim Army's deck, for instance. They're playing the Barry deck. Like, this is a deck you're almost never going to play against in a tournament. And, like, I wanted to test Lanupaw's site in this deck, but, like, we've played against 2 Barry decks in a row, which are, like, we're not going to play against in a tournament. So, like, it's tough to, like, actually gauge what's good and bad when you're not, like, doing formal testing against, like, decks you know you're going to play against if you're trying to prepare for a bash. I mean, if you look at Ali's tournament, he lost to the only real deck he played against. I looked at Ali's post, and the only actual, like, he lost to the Kaigu deck that, like, had all the cards in the last round. Paper Magic is so much work for such a crappy product. Nobody wants to watch Paper Magic. Into the Unknown's just really slow and clunky. It could be like maybe that's fine, because again, we only care about specific cards out of them. Honestly, I think I'd rather try like more Runebind just to like tempo them out of the games. And like, what are the odds my opponent has ways to interact with my combo? Probably low. Ding. Do this. Oh, I'm so dumb. This doesn't actually give me a charge. Alright, well, I guess we're in for an inch and for a pound now, and for a penny and for a pound. So they have to have a charge in order for this to give us a charge, which kind of sucks. I'm gonna go look at Ali's deck really quick. Data is great. Most Yarna decks aren't running counters, man. Yeah, that's what I think is true. Ah, fuck me. They're punishing me for my punt. They're taking me off my combo next turn. Just no interaction in their main deck. So they punished me for playing this out. They took me off a charge. I guess I'll play this, and I'll put a resource on top. I'm gonna put a non-resource on top of my deck, because I actually want to draw resources at this point. Yeah, I'm just gonna... And again, like, I don't even think we're gonna need to... I think we're gonna need to actually kill them this game, or actually combo them this game. I think we're just gonna, like, play out all of our poopers and, like, This is my stuff. Enjoy. I try not to die to this. Yeah. By super greedy, do you mean not good? Alright, so they've got a bunch of Withering Gazes in their board that are coming in most likely. I mean, that's basically what, Runebinds don't seem good. So Ollie's deck was a Crusader deck at its core. You want to watch trains? Choo-choos? Don't deck shit. I mean, you should play what you enjoy. Oh, let's cut these Lanupaw sites, because those are rancid. Transmogrifade's probably not terrible. They are a Crusader deck. Just don't leave the Runebinds in case they bring in some counters out of the board. I guess they could have, like, Massacres and stuff. Bring a couple Confounding Ires. Let's just do that. I don't actually think that's true, Mattman. Especially, like, the Zorath Constants deck. It has so many varying costs on Constants. I don't actually think it's bad against, we're about to learn how much worse this card is than Guidance here. I don't actually think the Zorath Constants deck is worse than, what's the word I'm searching for? Is that bad against that deck. Alright, we're gonna put a resource on top of my deck on the off chance that they don't bury me here. So then do this. Oh, you know what? I should have boarded these out too, right? I'm gonna put a random non-resource on top of my deck because my opponent's just gonna bury it anyways. Just gonna let them draw a card here. So, unlike a lot of the digital card games, you don't want to play Hex on a 6-inch screen. You don't. It's just not. It's not something that's going to be a pleasant user experience. Hex, unlike a lot of games like Eternal and stuff, doesn't sacrifice the quality of gameplay for like the sake of making gameplay fast is the best way to put it. So like Eternal and Hearthstone and those other games, they do things like limit the amount of things you can have on your board. And Hex doesn't do that. Want to watch Bus? Want Oddbods? I mean, Eternal's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with Eternal. I'm just saying that, objectively speaking, Eternal makes sacrifices to gameplay to allow you to play games on... make sacrifices to gameplay strategy to allow you to play on your phone. I'm just gonna smash my opponent here. I mean, honestly, Jin, like, I think a lot of those people that only play them on their phone would play Hex on their phone if it was available, and then like stop playing it because it would be frustrating to play on a screen that small. And like those are people, like, you know, not every game needs to appeal to every player. Like, you know, that's not how it works. There's like this idea among TCG players, especially, that like everyone has to like and play the same things, and that's just like objectively not true. I don't know. Opponent's playing. It's probably fine. We're very dead here, right? Really matter what we do. Alright, so yeah, I'm not gonna board these out. I'm just gonna bring in the Transmogrifades, I think, and then submit. Sure. Sure. This hand is not exciting, but it's a keep. No, they're just gonna put a bunch of tarantulas in our deck and not be able to attack through. I guess I'm gonna leave up Confounding Ire this turn. And not particularly impressive. They're certainly playing Ollie's Crusader version. Like 10 out of 10 certainly playing the Crusader deck that Ollie posted last night. Attacking there seems really loose. You're like, oh, I forgot to board these out. Yeah, it's just... This is why you should just play Kaigalichu, because people are going to play stuff like this and you'll just like dumpster them. God, I sound like Matt! I sound like Matt! That's so terrible! Why do I sound like Matt? Everyone's gonna play a bunch of jank anyways, so just play Kaigalichu. Oh, what does that do? I don't think I care about that. You guys want to play the Pippit Hustler? Honestly, Burgle, I'm just probably gonna play the Ardent deck I top 8'd with last weekend again. Like, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Oh, you know what? I should play this first. This way I could try and draw the thing oh, I should have probably Fate Weaved first, actually. God, what a fucking tilt. That's so tilting. To just, like, Prophecy, and then draw, and then brick. It's really frustrating. There goes my Prophecy card. I should have tried to board these out, I think. I don't know, it's like this tough balance, right? Because, like, you want to make sure you have enough troops for your champion power and stuff, but at the same time, like... Alright, sweet. We're just gonna hit our resources on curve, and then kill them with our champion power. I'm gonna attack like this, because if they block, we're gonna strangle that. Yeah, that's fine, I guess. Think I need to hold this Confounding Ire for a massacre. We actually haven't hit a single Arcane Soil yet, which is kind of impressive. There's 4 Arcane Soils and 25 cards, so like, if we hit one of those, they're dead. No, they haven't buried any soils. That's why I just said there's 4 soils and 25 cards. Hey, look, still no soils, so 4 soils and 23 cards. I'm gonna hold on to this shard for now in case we draw an Arcane Soil next turn. Worth noting, opponent does not have a wild here, so they're not going to get a Blight Blossom from this. You go to 10 and are very dead on board. You lose a soil there. Okay, so 3 soils and 16 cards. Sure. I'm going to interrupt that one. So they are dead to a Runebind here, or an Arcane Soil. Transmogrifade might dead them. 2% chance. Oh, I'm tired of losing coin flips. It's so frustrating. So this is a Transmogrifading 1-drop for those who aren't familiar, has a 50% chance to, what's the word I'm searching for? It has a 50% chance to turn it into a non-troop. Withering Gaze, yep, Massacre resolves. Right, or 1 in 3 to kill them here. 1 in 3 to lose the game. So we lost a coin flip to not win the game last turn. Can we hit the 1 in 3? Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. Rawr, Dreadlegs. Alright, well the Berry deck couldn't beat the deck full of Prophecy, so yeah. We got there. I got there through that. Just again, just like, don't actually know if these Lanupaw slates are good, bad, or otherwise, we just played against mono berry decks so far. The Furiko deck as a whole, though, like, I don't know if adding these Lanupaw slates is a good idea, but like, this deck as a whole is very good. It's got a nice, strong, proactive game plan that even when you run into random stuff, you can just kind of crush through them. Yeah, I cut Sapphire's favor as soon as Lasgard's Vengeance got banned. Basically, the idea is that, like, you just want to play a bunch of quality, reasonable cards in your deck, so that way when you're not combo killing your opponent, like, you're just playing a normal game of Hex. I think that's a very reasonable game plan to be on. Just, like, you know, play good, honest Hex. So Captain Mogar, I spent an entire evening trying different things with that deck. We tried 8 Ires, we tried a bunch of Gravebane Vials, we tried a mix of Ire and Gravebane Vials, we tried bunch of Pride Falls, just like nothing fixes it. You should just hope to dodge the matchup. Believe me when I say it's bad. It's not bad, and we didn't test it, and we found out it was bad after the fact. We knew it was bad going in, so It just, you know, kind of is what it is. So playing this Warpsteel Shardsworn out here has an upside and a downside. The downside is that because I don't have a wild threshold already, this is not going to get a Blight Blossom gem guaranteed. The upside, though, is if I draw a Sapphire Shard next turn, I can consult with this. Well, I guess if I did that with Webborn, I could have done that anyways. Maybe I'm just supposed to wait on this. That's probably wrong. Redrew the wild. Yeah, I should have waited. There was a small upside. Yep, just accept that it's bad. Like, that's fine, right? So, like, if you look at my record from the bash, I literally didn't lose a game to a non-Kaigalichu deck. Unfortunately, I played Kaigalichu 3 times, so, like, I lost 2 matches. I managed to beat it 1 time, but, like, you know, just not everything is going to be good against everything. Vampire Princess is annoying, but we've got this Transmogrifade to deal with that. We're really good. We'll draw a Pippit Hustler here. Rats, we're so unlucky. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put a non-resource on top of my deck here. Then I'm going to go ahead and play this Thunderfield Seer out, and then we'll Transmogrifade this when we attack. That's not how metagames work, Nick. That's how really narrow metagames work. So, like, if you're expecting Kaigalichu to be 50% of the field, so, like, last season, for instance, Lasgar's Vengeance decks pushed a lot of decks out of the format. But that's because Lasgar's Vengeance decks were 40 to 60% of a lot of the competitive events. So when you're expecting to play against a deck or a card that's good against your deck 50% of the time, then yes, your deck is not playable. But honestly, I'd be surprised if Kaigalichu is even a quarter of the field. It's probably going to be less than that, honestly, at the bash this weekend. So, in well-designed TCG formats, having 1 bad matchup is fine. Like, it's not the end of the world. That's not how it works. I actually think you want to go under them tracks. The games I tend to steal off of Kaigu involve, like, an aggressive start into, like, Runebinding your Rotten Rancor or Eternal Seeker kill you. Those are the games I seem to be winning in that matchup. I don't think it's quite that bad, Immortal, but it's pretty bad. Do I want to throw one of these away for 4 points of damage? Yeah, that seems worth it. Putting them down to 19. So they'll get to eat my 2-1 or my 2-2, and then they'll take 4. No, not at all, Limestone. And people, so like, the Kaigalichu decks making up 50% of the top 8 was pure fucking variance. And I feel like a lot of people are not paying attention to that. Half of the Kaigalichu decks that top 8'd last weekend top 8'd with 5-2 records. There were half a dozen non-Kaigalichu decks, including 2 Furiko decks, that 5-2'd. So, like, if tiebreaker variance just goes a little bit differently, the top 8 doesn't even have 4, it has 2 Kaigalichu decks in it. The Kaigu win rate compared to, like, the Furiko win rate wasn't that different. It's just, like, the Kaigu players got luckier is what it came down to. Like, anyone that does well in any tournament, period, generally got a little bit lucky to do so. The fact that, like, you snuck in on tiebreakers is exceedingly lucky. Alright, so we're gonna take 4 here. Yeah, that's fine. They're gonna gain 4. Are they dead? So, counting if they're... I gotta get faster at counting if they're dead with this deck. Are they dead this turn? Well, that actually nets us an extra card, right? Alright, so... Arcane Soil puts me down to 5, so I'm gonna make 7 tokens. I need to hit them with 8 tokens to kill... 8 troops to kill them. They can block 3. So if I'm making 7, they block 3. I have 6. I'm hitting them with 10, so they're dead. I just want to talk... I want to talk through the math, Tom, for people that don't understand how you're supposed to be counting for the deck. You want to count how many troops you have, how many blockers they have, and then figure out how many you need to actually hit them with. And like, so like, some people will hear what I said there about the Kaigalishu decks making top 8 of pure variants, like take that as like I'm like trying to belittle accomplishments. And those players having a 5-2 record is impressive, and you have to play well to have a 5-2 record. You also have to get a little bit lucky. Like I was lucky to go 6-1. Like that's just how games that are variants by design work. If you're doing well in them, you got a little bit fortunate to do so, and not recognizing that I think is a little bit ignorant. I am very good at 5. So it's funny when I was building the stat cards, I was reminded of the fact that like, so I've got 4 Hex top 8s between Bashes, Clashes, and CCS, and I've got 5 other X2 records where I like X2 to then miss top 8 on breakers, even though 2, 3, or 4 people made top 8 with that record. And Burgle, you want to hear the extra kick in the dick? The very first Clash, I 8-2'd and got like 11th place. The 8-2 no top 8 is just like, oh lordy, I played 10 rounds. I played 10 rounds for nothing! Alright, what am I doing here? I probably want some more Transmogrifades against Vampire Princess. I know that Runebind is particularly good. I think that's the only swap I'm going to make. They're not a Bride deck. I don't think I want these to interact with their constant. I have Pippit Hustler for that. I mean, like, being upset about more upset about 9th place versus like 17th place or 15th place on tiebreakers is silly. Like you all got shafted just as much. I really honestly, I've said this a couple of times on stream. I really hope Hex takes the initiative to make that part of the TCG tournament experience better. There's a number of ways that could be explored to reduce or remove tiebreakers from the game. If a Withering Gaze, and we're debating if we want to play it on one. And I think Hex could explore a number of options that would improve the tournament experience for players by eliminating or reducing the impact that tiebreakers have on the game. I guarantee a resource on top of my deck here. I don't know offhand. It's sets 3 and set 4 are Armies of Myth and oh, what's the other one? Armies of Myth and anyone help me out here? Primal Dawn, Armies of Myth and Primal Dawn are the 2 sets. So like look for, yeah, there you go, Nero with the clutch. I almost got there fast enough. So look for cards from those sets. Alright, so this is actually going to feel a little bit backwards, because normally I talk about sequencing this way incorrectly, but I'm going to double Prophecy here, and then put a non-resource on top of my deck, and the reason why this sequencing is correct this time is because my opponent has a Vampire Prince in play, so I don't want them to bury the card I Prophecy onto. I don't... Oh, I can't block. I was just saying I'm going to double trade here, but this actually makes their stuff unblockable. Alright, well. The fact that they're gaining life is actually exceedingly annoying for us. I'm going to transmog this now, see what we get. We get to draw 2 cards here. We could hit a Consult and want to use these to exhaust. Alright, that's really annoying, actually. Non-resource on top of my deck here. A lot of damage next turn. I could Xbog the Blood Sword post-attack. That's true. That'll probably reduce a lot of damage off of here. I can Xbog a Scorpidox pre-attack. It's like second best, right? Clobberdon would have been a lot of power as well. I think we're going to end up being a turn short here. Not being able to block these Dorkos means they're pushing a lot of damage. Yeah, I'm really not worried about it. Like, and again, this is just like TCG player symptoms, right? Like, they ban one thing and like TCG players go into like ban mania, basically, is like what it turns into. Well, that was from a really good one drop into an actual removal. I'll take it. Don't have another threat. Don't have another threat. Don't have another threat. Vampire's pretty bad for us here. Every day we hustling, hustling, hustling. Every day we hustling, hustling, hustling. Am I just passing here? I think I'm just passing. Doesn't even look suspicious. It might be suspicious because I waited for a second there. So if they attack with both of these, hopefully we Transmogrifade this into something that has 1 power. Then we can go ahead and hustle the Vampire Princess and then gobble up the Quash Ridge Tusker. Alright, well, hopefully this turns into something with 2 power. Just gone. God, we are really good at that today. They have a resource for the last card. Well, we are firmly ahead here. I did not think we were winning this game. We're firmly ahead at this point. Huh. Alright, let's do this. It's possible I'm supposed to do this and try and hit a resource. I think I want to just do this and smash them. Oh, punished. Wow, we're going to lose this game now. Because this attacks for 4 and then attacks for 5. Man. Yeah, should have... I guess I should have just hit that last turn. See if we're lucky enough to draw out of it. We would have hit the thing. We would have made... Would have had that in hand. 1, 2, 4. And then that would have been 12. Yeah, we would have killed them. So... Oh, wait. Are they dead? They're not dead, right? This is 9... 15, 19. We're 1 point short. Right? And that turn I didn't attack? Yeah. Alright. That's a bit for the next one. So again, like, and this is one of the reasons why I like this deck. This deck has a lot of play to it, and there's a lot of important sequencing decisions. And like, so like, again, there's 2 different ways you can approach that game there, like the result of that game. You can either be upset that you were 1 point short and that your opponent got lucky and hit the Withering Gaze, or you could be like, no, I should have taken the percentage play on the Arcane Soil to hit the Shard, and then I would have killed my opponent in 2 attacks, basically regardless of what they could have drawn there. And I took the incorrect line, and my opponent ended up drawing the card to punish me for my incorrect line. If you focus on the things that your opponent drew that made the outcome of the game go poorly for you, you're just going to go insane, you're going to get frustrated, and you're going to burn out on TCGs very, very quickly. Like, you have to, if you want to get better as a TCG player, you want to focus on the things that you can control and the things that you can do differently. It's the absolute best way you could improve as a player. I'm going to put a non-resource on top of my deck here, because I would like to find, like, Consult the Talons, ideally, I think. Work our way up to that. We've got these double focuses here, so hopefully if we don't draw a resource in a couple of draws after that Fate Weave, we can just dig for 1. That is exactly correct, Limestone. And that's honestly one of the reasons why I think it's so frustrating to interact with a lot of people in the TCG community, is I feel like TCGs in general, because they have that variance by design element to it, they attract this type of person on average a lot of the time, that like the type of person that just like doesn't want to claim responsibility for any mistakes that they've made when they're doing something, because like in a TCG it could always be something else's fault. If you try hard enough and look hard enough, there's something that didn't go exactly your way in every TCG game, and it's very easy to look at the thing that didn't go exactly right and be like, I am very unlucky, and this is just, I'm just not fortunate. And that's the reason I lost. It wasn't because I made a sequencing mistake on turn 2. It wasn't because I made a bad block on turn 3. It wasn't because I chose not to play around something. It was just because I'm unlucky, and it's not my fault. You'll hear a lot of people do that kind of stuff over and over and over again. And those people just kind of tread water and don't really get anywhere. Ding, ding, ding. We hit a Transmogrifade. Take another charge away from you. Yeah, exactly. And I think there's a lot of people that like, and honestly, you know, that's fine for some people, right? Like you're just looking for an escape. Like life sucks sometimes, and you want something to blame, and you don't want to feel bad about yourself when you're playing a game. But like, if your goal is to get better at playing card games, and your goal is to be a better TCG player, you have to just eliminate having that type of mindset from yourself, because you're not going to become better at the games if that is your mindset. You're just going to be, one, miserable a lot of the time, because you're going to be losing to people that are better than you because they're able to identify their mistakes and own up to them. And two, I forgot what I was saying, but there was a 2 in there at some point. Alright, so hopefully we can dodge getting cockatrice here. We can build up our hand with these Arcane Soils over a couple of turns. They have Scorpionex here. Yep, that's actually going to gain them a lot of life. So this first Arcane Soil's only going to... That's pretty good. Alright, well, now let's do this. Draw 4. It's actually a little unfortunate not hitting a shard there. This is going to go up to 4 here. That's a lot of Vampire Princesses. So we talked about doing math earlier. I'm not doing math at this point. I'm just, like, assuming I need to, like, do this and slam into my opponent here. And, like, getting my champion power in earlier means these hit for extra multiple times over the course of a few turns. There's 8 things here, so depending on how they block, I might actually kill them on this combat step. So they're taking... This is 8... 8, 24, 27 on this attack. I can transmog to prevent life gain. Yeah, it's not going to kill them, though. That's what I'm counting, right? So I'm dealing 27 unblocked here. And if I transmog one of these, they're still going to go up to 28, so it's not lethal, so I'm not going to transmog. I'd rather just transmog the Scorpionex. They'd be going to 2 here if I transmogged. They'd be going to 1 here if they transmog. We're 1 short. If you're looking to target this deck, you want to play cards like Misery or Crackling Magma, stuff like that. I agree. Alright, don't run Uldrapost. Maybe I'm supposed to transmog this on my turn to play around with Uldrapost. I don't usually play that card, but like on the off chance. Got him. Got him good. But like, they could have had a card in their hand, Marty. And like, if they're actually dead, they could concede, but like, I have no reason not to like go look for a Runebind there. And like, just in case they had something that could screw with combat. Yeah, Riposte is not fantastic. I agree. This deck does feel very Bombus-esque, but it has more of a combo element to it than Bombus had. I think we're going to play one more match with this, and then we'll change up to... There were some Bombus decks that were really cheap at some point. Flying fart machine is your engine. Yeah, the flickering bucket was like kind of a combo card, right? Doesn't quite have the oomph of Furiko plus Soil though. Hope everyone's having a good morning, afternoon, night, wherever you're at in the world. Thanks for joining us here. I hang out and play some Hex Constructed. If you're enjoying what you see, please remember to pound that follow button. Doesn't cost you anything, helps other people find my stuff. If you're really enjoying what you see and help support me a little bit past that, remember it is currently September. So all new subscriptions, which are the best way to support my content here, are half off. So please consider doing that on down below. You can also support my content by supporting my sponsors. If you're going to buy some Hex TCG singles anyways, do so with hexprimal.com. Using code Jeff5, you'll save 5% on your order there, in addition to supporting my content. And inkedgaming.com would love to help you customize your gaming experience. They do custom playmats and mouse pads and sleeves if you're into physical TCGs. What are the bad decks for this matchup? I don't actually know. I feel like I'm competitive in everything, which is just everything I want in a deck, right? That prophecy in there. This, I would love a Pippit Hustler. We're gonna need another resource at some point. Perfect, found one. But Pippit Hustler Can hustle Constance, which is great. Man, we can get our AA Hustler soon. I'm excited for some AA Hustlers. Every day we gonna be hustling. Every day we hustling, hustling, hustling. Use Lanupaw site to gas back up pre-soil here. We are Decree of Banishing one of these. Do you have another constant to put into play here? That's really aggressive. That one's prophesized. Alright. Play this and then pass the turn here. This is if you have 3 or more differently named, right? Yeah. Just one copy of the AA per player, I believe. There's the Twilight Eclipse. Alright. See what I draw here first. I'm gonna hustle the Physician, I think. Baby Yeti. Play this on so because we haven't played... I was just say, because we haven't played a Webborn Apostate yet, we're 2 turns away from comboing them. Just drew the Webborn Apostate, so maybe... Do I want to hustle this Twilight Eclipse, or do I want to play... I think I just want to hustle the Twilight Eclipse and just combo in 2. Looks pretty bad without Twilight Eclipse out. You'll notice I hustled post-combat because it's likely to turn into a troop, but I didn't want them to be able to eat any of my troops for free. Have a Nightfall. I'd be sad if they have a Twilight Revenant here. You want one of these, fat boy? Mm-hmm. This is another reason to have played out the Pippit Hustler kind of aggressively here, is because they're likely to want to hero fall my first one, and then I'd lose the second one out of my hand. Huh. Maybe I was actually supposed to just Arcane Soil there as opposed to this. This would be an extra Dreadleg next turn and, like, give me a mass of them. So, part of the reason why the wells are expensive is because, contrary to what some of the negative Nancy's in the forums would have you believe, Hex has been growing as a game. And, like, the number of people that are playing Hex now is more than the number of people that were playing Hex, like, when the wells were printed. So, like, the rares from, like, and that's why, especially, like, why Runebind and Transmog are so expensive, too. Like, the rares from sets 3 and 4 were drafted less than the ones we have today, right? So, like, there's less of them available as more people come into Hex, and, like, the amount of those cards stays the same. I don't actually know how I want to board this matchup. I should have thought about that a little more when I put this board together. I don't know if I want to board in Confounding Ire or not. You want another chocolate candy, little boy? I think I'm just going to cut the Runebinds and bring in the Scorn and the Rotting Chompknight. The Runebinds are, like, kind of nice, though, because they can, like, delay... They can delay it for a turn. Maybe I just want 2 Runebinds over the 2 Transmogs, because the Runebinds can interact with their troops as well. I'm going to give that a try, see how it feels. It seems like medium minus, but it's got a Pippit Hustler in it, so it's probably fine. A Consult as well. This hand finds another 2-drop. This hand finds a 2-drop in its first 2 draw steps. It's very good. Vesper on 1, so this is going to be one of their more aggressive starts here. It's one of the reasons why the Goot... That's what the... People are asking me, like, the benefits of the Goot deck over the Zorath Malice deck I've been playing, and the Goot deck having these more aggressive draws that are enabled off of, like, Vesper and Twilight Archon are definitely, like, very real. Like, they're able to pressure some people out of the game. Except it doesn't look like they have a constant on 2, so that's good for us. That's gross. I guess I'm Fate Weaving a non-resource to the top of my deck here. You want another candy, little fat boy? I got you. Alright, I'm actually just going to attack them here because they're going to be able to activate their champion power next turn, which will make their Vesper too big to block. Yeah, I agree that Confounding Ire is good against the cards that you care about, Army of Thalia. The question comes down to whether or not my deck has the ability to, like, actually be able to hold up resources on the important turns. I don't actually think that this deck can really be afford to, like, be holding up 2 resources a lot of the time is what it comes down to. Well, I think part of it, Gin and Tonic, too, is, like, more competitive players has come into Hex as the game's grown. So, like, more competitive players care about having more efficient resources, right? Like, we didn't have these tournaments every week that were, like, encouraging people to, like, spend a bunch of money playing Hex. And, like, having regular tournaments probably turned a number of players that were, like, more casual before into more serious players. I'm gonna hustle this one. This is a little bit of a gamble because they could kill this. I'm gonna try and eat their guy. Wow, they don't have a removal. That's sweet. Just Decree of Banishing. Good. So we, like, took both their threats off the table with Pippit Hustler there because he's great. Put a non-resource on top of my deck here. Go ahead and play this Thunderfield Seer out to Prophecy onto it. And that's exactly like Mudkip's, like, when people talk about, like, these tournaments aren't like paying for themselves and entry fees, I'm like, you don't understand what the point of these tournaments is. The point of these tournaments is not for them to break even on entry fees. The point of these tournaments is to encourage people to play Hex, and, like, that's what they do. They encourage people to play Hex. This is prophesized too. Great. Like this out here. I'm actually going to have to discard here, right? I'm actually going to focus in case I hit a... I'll take the prophesied card. I'm going to discard a resource here. I'm just going to Runebind this Twilight Archon. Sure. And this is why you wait to Runebind it, because they have things like Guidance that can undo it later. I think they should just be dead here. We'll do this, and then we'll Arcane Soil and Champ Power. Yep. Alrighty. 'Alright. 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 'Alright.